Hello everyone, it's Valerie from Stampin' with Valerie. I hope you are all having a fantastic Wednesday. This is my One Card Wonder Wednesday video, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. So if you live in the US and you do not have a demonstrator, I would love it if you would choose me as your demonstrator. So I want to remind you all, it is my birthday month, so I am giving away a Stamparatus. So if you want to be a part of that, it's all you have to do is spend $30 in my store, and you will have a fantastic entry into my drawing, which is going to be on November 1st. So you have through the end of the month. And the fun part is, if you do a $60 order, you get 2 tickets. If you do a $90 order, you get 3, so on and so on. So I hope you will take a chance, take a moment and check out my online store. I would truly appreciate it. So today we're going to be using the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set, and this is definitely going to be one of my new favorites. I love all of these sentiments that are in here. I love that there is a variety of fonts, and you've got the 2 little round sentiments here, so you could punch them out or you could use dies to cut around them. They're fantastic. So I hope you have this set or are going to get this set, because it really is great. All right, I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to show you the cute little, I was going to say fantastically cute little card that we are going to be making tonight. Isn't this adorable? It is super easy, but it just like kind of pops. I really love it. So I'm going to set this right here and we will get started. Hi Sharon, thanks for joining. I hope you are having a great evening. So the first thing I want to show you is all our little bits and pieces. So we are using some of the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper. So we have 3 different pieces of that. These 2 go directly on the card, and this is what we are going to use. I'm sorry, there is a fruit fly buzzing my face right now. We are going to use this piece to punch out our ornaments. And then we have a piece of soft seafoam that's going to make our little Noel banner. And we have some of the brushed metallic foil that's in copper, and a small piece of Whisper White. These are all pieces to make this cute little card. I'm going to set these to the side, and I'm also going to set my card base off to the side, and I'm going to grab the piece of soft seafoam because we are going to use the Stamparatus. Yes, this is the fantastic Stamparatus. Isn't this great? And there's another plate, I don't have it out right now, that hooks here. So if you need to stamp more things, you can do that. So what I did earlier was I took my piece of soft seafoam, and why is this one? I have the wrong piece of soft seafoam. I put one away earlier and I was like, that can't be the one. And it's not the right length, but it is the one. So let's trim this down real quick. It's not quite the right length. We want it to be 5 inches, and this is a little too long. All right, so what I did was when I put it on here with my scrap piece of paper, I marked these corners where I want my next piece to go, because that is how you know you have your piece of paper right where you want it. Then I took this stamp, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did. I got to peel it off. I got to use this to get it off because that cling really, really clings. So you take your stamp and you position it right where you want it, and you make sure it's straight and even and however you want it to be on your piece of cardstock for your first stamping, because we're going to do what's called hinge stamping, because we want to make this row. So then lower your plate, pick your stamp up, and then whatever ink you're using, we're going to use Memento because we just want that Noel in black. Ink that up, stamp, move it down 1 hinge. That's what's great about this, is these are all going to be evenly spaced, because every time you move it down, one hinge, you get that even spacing. And then every time you stamp this, it's straight. As long as you placed your stamp straight to begin with, it's going to be straight. If you want it on an angle, you can put it on an angle as well. And one fantastic thing about this is, let's say I stamped this and it wasn't quite dark enough. All you would have to do is re-ink it and stamp again, and it will be perfectly placed. So that is one of the fantastic ways you can use the Stamparatus. It is actually one of my favorite ways to use the Stamparatus. Now, I like to use just a baby wipe when I'm using my Stamparatus to clean my stamps with. Now this one is dried out, so earlier I was like, it's probably not a brilliant idea, but I think it's fantastic. Since it's dry, I just use my spritzer, spritz some water on it, and then just use it again. And it works perfect to get that ink off. It's just kind of like just using water on your chamois to get that ink off, except I just re-wet that baby wipe. I know, who knew? I know, it was one of those things I figured out today, and I was pretty proud of my idea, so I had to share it with you all. Okay, so obviously this is not a banner yet, and it's too wide to fit in our banner's pick-a-punch, and also the banner triple punch. So what I did, because this is an odd width, this is like 2 3/8, so it's not even like 2 1/2 where I could go over 1 1/4. I mean, I could do something, but I'm not going to. I just kind of eyeball it, pick where the center is, and just snip up. Now I know I want to come to this part right here with my scissors where the top of that snip was, and just snip that off. And then I'm going to do the same from this side. And you have as pretty close to a perfect little banner as you can get, right? I think it turned out pretty good doing it that way. Hi Lois, how are you? Thanks for joining. So grab your card base and your fantastic, oh, I forgot to stamp this guy. We're gonna have to go back to the Stamparatus because I didn't stamp him. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do for this. I need to put this back on here. Now, I know we've already cut that out, but I totally forgot to do my last little guy. So what I did was I just laid it right over this last one, but since it's up here, let's just lay it over this top one. And then I don't need my magnet to really hold it down. It should be fine. So we're going to try it without adding the magnet and see how well that works. Just holding it, keeping it in place right there by itself. As long as I don't move too quickly, the paper should not move and it should stamp just fine. Ta-da! There we go. Now we have our other Noel that we need. And then we can use that baby wipe that we already wet back down and clean that stamp. Perfect. I knew when I put that back I was forgetting something, and obviously it was a crucial part to our card. Okay, so grab your card base like we were starting before I got sidetracked with that other Noel, and just go ahead and put some adhesive around it. Now this piece is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4. It's kind of an odd shape for a card front. But we're also going to move it all the way over to this edge. We're not even going to center it between right and left. We're going to leave some Whisper White over here to the right, which I actually kind of like. It kind of looks cute like that. And then this second piece of cardstock, we're just going to put it right here. And all we need to do is just put a little bit of adhesive on the back of that and do the same. And I just went right off the edge of that. So if you can see where I went off the edge of that, this Stampin' Seal Plus is amazing because you can just fold it over. I love that you can do that with the Stampin' Seal Plus. So you don't even have to worry about that too much. Now move it a little closer to the top so you have a little, just a couple little rows of that gingham here, and then you have more rows at the bottom. Next step is we'll put this on here. Now, I just used a ton of dimensionals on this because you know how much I like my dimensionals. They are very fun to use and they get the job done. So that is why I used so many of them. I don't know about any of you, but I run through these things like crazy. So it's one of my favorite things to do is just add layers upon layers of things onto my cards, and dimensionals really, really help me with that. So I probably don't need quite this many, but because it's longer, I don't like it if it sags in the middle. I don't like to make a card and then have the little middle piece sag in because it's kind of irritating. I'm going to bring this end all the way up to the top and then just adhere it all down. Perfect. Look at that. Gorgeous. Now we're going to take our Noel and we're going to use the Real Red Dark Stampin' Blend. And I'm just going to turn it this way to color in this end to start with. And I just kind of like to go around the outline of it first, and then I'll color in the center. And I'm using the writing tip. I was using the brush tip earlier and I just kept going out of the line. So I'm like, I really need to just use the writing tip and not even chance it with the brush tip because I'm just going to be all over the place. Right. How many of you have started your Christmas cards this year already? I mean, obviously I can say yes because every time I do a card on a video, that's one of the Christmas cards that I will be sending out this year. Hi Kelly, how are you? Thank you for joining tonight. I hope you're having a great evening. I don't know why I just moved my hand like, ta-da, look, I outlined it, everybody. Check it out. Pretty proud of my coloring skills. So give me some smiley faces or some hearts if you've started Christmas cards, or if you've even been thinking about starting Christmas cards. Give me some hearts and some smiley faces because that's even a feat in itself. I mean, we're only in October, but you know, we always like to try to plan early. So for the end of this, I just diagonally cut this off. And then, oh, I got some laughing faces. Nice. Oh my gosh, Sharon, you have a lot of cards to make. 165. Wow. You really, really have a lot to make, but you're already almost halfway into it. You've got 70 done. That's fantastic. Good for you. Good for you. That's great. I definitely don't have 70 cards made. That's for sure. I don't even know. I don't even have my list out to know exactly how many I'll be sending. So I'm going to leave this out because we're still going to use this. But first, let's just get our Noel onto the card, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. If you haven't used the Gleaming Ornaments punches, they are a pair of punches. They were in last year's catalog, and they're in this year's catalog, so it's fantastic. I love that they have... I got to face it toward me so I can make sure I get this even. They're fantastic. You got a larger ornament and a smaller ornament. Now we're just going to use the smaller ornament for this card because I haven't used it for any cards this year, and I thought, oh, I really need to incorporate this. And I was looking at this card and I'm like, it really needs something, and it's like popped into my head, bing, let's make some ornaments. And I thought this paper with these fantastic little polka dots and there's little plus signs on there are just super cute. But they kind of look a little plain, without a little bit of sponging around that edge. And what that sponging does is just gives it a little bit of definition. You might not be able to see it as easily on camera because I'm doing Real Red on Real Red. So I'm going to move it just a little bit closer so you can see it a little bit. Hopefully you can see that. Now, had I used Memento or something, you would definitely be able to see that. But when you're up close to it, you can really see that sponging, even though it's Real Red on Real Red, you can really see it. All right, and then I'm gonna take that piece of brushed metallic cardstock, this is in the copper, and I'm gonna take that punch again, and I'm just gonna put it in just so it is the top of the ornament, and I'm just gonna punch 3 of those, and we'll glue those onto our ornaments, and then that gives that little ornament topper on there. Oh, that's fantastic, Sharon, that you're giving cards to assisted living and nursing homes. That's great. I love that. I'll probably, well, hopefully I'll be able to do that with some of my extra cards as well. I'm going to put just a dot of glue on there. And then we'll grab that Take Your Pick tool and use that sticky end to pick those up. That one dropped, so we'll move it. And then if you need to move them around, you can always use the pick end as well. I just dropped that one too. I don't know why I think when you move, I moved too fast with it and then it drops it. But if I pick it up with my fingers and I try to put it on there, I end up with glue all over my fingers because I'm touching the glue and trying to stick it on there at the same time. So I'm like, not even gonna try that. I'm gonna let those dry. I'm gonna grab some of the Real Red braided linen trim. I love this trim. How many of you have this trim and have you used it? I love it because it's exactly like our natural braided linen trim, but it's just in Real Red. So it's perfect for Christmas, and it's kind of rustic, so it kind of lends a little bit of a rustic feel to the cards. I'm just going to cut this end off, and we'll probably trim a little bit more off after we get it on there. We're just going to use a glue dot. Glue dots are perfect for this. And I just kind of fold them over a little bit sometimes if the glue dots are a little too big. And then we're just going to put this right directly onto that gingham. And then when you look at it like this, you can see that those are pretty long. So I only want them to come to the ends, literally the ends. So I'm going to trim it there. And then because this is all evenly spaced, I can just trim it right there. And then I know my ribbon is perfectly spaced. Love it. All right, these should be dry now. Flip them over. It would even be cute with this color, but I like this better, much better. Red and green, like really, I'll be honest with you, is one of my, it really is truly my favorite Christmas combination. The traditional red and green. I mean, my Christmas tree, you know, most Christmas trees, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of Christmas trees come with just white lights. And our Christmas tree, I can't remember how many years ago we bought it. It's been several years ago. Came, of course, with just white lights. And I didn't want a multi-colored light tree, but I wanted red, green, and white. So I took old strands. I mean, they aren't like 1950s old, but older strands of lights. And my friend and I spent a day pulling all the red and green bulbs out of those old strands, and then we replaced on my Christmas tree. I pulled out a bunch of white ones and replaced them, so now I have red, green, and white lights on my tree. I can't tell you how gorgeous it looks and how happy it makes me every year when I turn that tree on. But the tips of my fingers, my index fingers and my thumbs hurt for like 3 or 4 days afterwards from doing that, because of course I didn't have one of those bulb removers. We were just pulling them out by hand. We're kind of nuts like that, but it totally worked. So that's my little story about myself and red and green, how much I love it at Christmas. So real red rhinestones. Love to put some of these on here. And I just put one on each of the Christmas ornaments, just so they each have a little bit of bling on them. Put a couple on the card. You can put them anywhere you want. I'm kind of spacing them the exact same way I did the first time. And you can put as many or as few as you want. So however you want to do it, I think it's great. Hi Katie, how are you? Thanks for joining. So what do you think? What do you think of this adorable card? If you love it, give me some hearts. I truly appreciate that. That helps my Facebook algorithms and all that good stuff. You all joining really helps, and commenting. And I truly, truly appreciate it. I think this turned out really fantastic. And it's a simple card. We used the Stamparatus, which made doing this hinge stamping down that side was fantastic. I hope you enjoyed tonight's One Card Wonder Wednesday. I try to move them different places so you can see them, different angles and all that good stuff. But I hope you had a great time, and I hope you truly enjoyed it. I had a great time. And I hope you will head over to my store at valeriesmith.stampinup.net. Check out all these wonderful products for yourself. I'll be posting a link later tonight with my blog, my little blog that I wrote about this card today. So enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening, and I will see you all next time. Bye.